A soft breeze drifted through the grand estate as Maria, a young woman with humble beginnings, swept the front foyer. Her thoughts drifted to memories of her childhood, growing up in a cramped apartment where money was always scarce. Now, she worked as the maid for the Hartley household, a family known throughout the city for their wealth and social standing. Despite her position, Maria carried herself with dignity and grace, her eyes reflecting both intelligence and compassion. Each day she observed the intricate routines of the mansion, from the butler's precise timing to the chef's meticulous plating, yet she never allowed envy to take root. Her path had been difficult, but she reminded herself that every step, forward, however small, was progress. Mr. Ethan Hartley, a titanic figure in the world of real estate, had built an empire from scratch. Stories about his rise to prominence circulated through the city like whispers of legend. He lived in a sprawling mansion, nestled on a hilltop, far removed from the struggles of the common folk. Yet, despite his intimidating wealth, Ethan had earned a reputation as a fair and honorable man. At least that was the narrative his associates preferred. Maria saw him as distant, wrapped in his own world of numbers and negotiations. He rarely acknowledged the staff beyond a nod or curt greeting. Still, Maria held him in respect. His discipline and integrity were qualities she admired, even if admired from afar. Ethan's wife, Vanessa, was a beauty who turned heads wherever she went. With porcelain skin and dark hair cascading over her shoulders, she epitomized elegance. Yet Maria couldn't shake a sense of unease whenever Vanessa swept past her. There was something in those eyes, a flicker of disdain perhaps towards the staff. Maria had resigned herself to the fact that wealth often bred arrogance. She focused on her work, cleaning rooms, polishing silver, and preparing meals. Still, the unease remained, though Maria convinced herself it might simply be the weight of expectation on Vanessa's shoulders. Being married to one of the city's richest men was no small role. It was late afternoon when Maria first overheard a heated conversation. She was dusting the shelves in the study when Ethan's voice echoed from behind an oak door. "Vanessa, you can't be serious," he said, his tone calm but insistent. Maria froze, broom in midair. She listened as Vanessa's voice, sharp and cutting, replied, "I'm more than serious, Ethan. This is about what's best for us." She paused, the murmurs fading. Maria strained to catch more, but footsteps approached and she hurried away, heart pounding. Her hands shook as she resumed dusting, but her mind raced. What could Vanessa be planning that Ethan opposed so firmly? That evening, while polishing the silverware for a dinner party, Maria's mind replayed the fragments of conversation. What could Vanessa be planning? She knew her place was not to pry, yet the sense of dread settled in her chest. The next morning, Maria arrived early to prepare the breakfast buffet. The air felt thick, charged with anticipation. She arranged freshly baked rolls, fruit platters, and a spread of artisanal cheeses, glancing toward the master bedroom door, half expecting it to burst open with news that would shake the household. Breakfast was a subdued affair. Ethan sat at the head of the table, reading the newspaper, his brow furrowed. Vanessa poured coffee, her movements smooth and deliberate, eyes flicking toward Maria as she placed a plate before the maid. The staff filed in and out, carrying trays and serving tea. Maria stayed as discreetly as possible, refilling water glasses and exchanging polite nods. But Vanessa's gaze lingered longer than necessary, and Maria sensed a challenge in that look, an unspoken warning that she dared not cross a line. After the meal, Maria retreated to her chores, trying to focus on cleaning the library. Outside, the estate grounds glowed in the morning light, the gardens lush with roses and jasmine. Regardless of the tension inside, nature continued its serene rhythm. Maria took a moment to breathe in the fragrance, reminding herself that life moved forward despite problems within walls and hearts. She wouldn't let fear consume her. She had responsibilities that demanded her attention, duties that kept her mind from wandering too far into speculation. Late that afternoon, as Maria folded fresh linens in the guest bedroom, she heard a muffled cry. It came from Vanessa's suite. Alarm shot through her veins. She set the linens aside and tiptoed toward the door, hand trembling. A second cry, more urgent, reached her ears. Then the unmistakable slam of a door. Maria knew she shouldn't snoop. She knew her role was to maintain and serve, not intervene. But a nagging voice within urged her to act. She pressed her ear against the door, heart in her throat, and heard Vanessa's hushed sobs. Maria placed a gentle hand on the doorknob, fingers curling around the cold metal. "Mrs. Hartley?" she whispered softly. There was no response. Maria's conscience battled her sense of propriety. Was she overstepping? The notion of turning away felt impossible. Carefully, she pushed open the door a crack. Vanessa sat on the edge of her bed, shoulders shaking with sobs. The room was dimly lit, curtains drawn. Crystal vases and silk cushions surrounded a woman undone. Maria paused, unsettled by what she saw. Maria stepped inside, closing the door, gently behind her. "Mrs. Hartley, are you all right?" she asked, voice gentle. Vanessa looked up, startled, mascara smudged beneath her eyes. No, I'm not," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Please, go away." Maria hesitated, pain flickering in her chest. She wanted to leave, to avoid crossing a boundary that might cost her job. Yet as Vanessa's anguished gaze met hers, Maria made a choice. "I'm here to help," she said quietly. "If there's anything I can do." Vanessa's face twisted in a mixture of anger and fear. "You don't understand," she said. "If Ethan finds out, he'll—" She stopped, shaking her head as tears fell. Maria's concern deepened. Sensing danger, she inched closer. "Please, Mrs. Hartley," she urged. "I overheard something. Can you tell me what's wrong?" Vanessa closed her eyes, swallowing hard. Then she shook her head, trying to compose herself. "It's nothing. Just leave." Maria reached out, gently touching Vanessa's hand. "I won't say a word. But if something is hurting you or hurting this family, you should tell someone you trust." Vanessa recoiled, pulling her hand away. "You're a servant," she spat, voice trembling. "Stay in your place." Maria's cheeks flushed, hurt, and anger mingling, but she swallowed her pride. "Please, Mrs. Hartley," she said softly. "I just want the truth." Vanessa's glance hardened and she rose abruptly. "Fine," she said, voice tight. "Just don't expect me to be grateful." She turned away, staring out the window. A hush fell. Maria waited, tension coiling in her gut. After a minute, Vanessa spoke again, softer. "Ethan," she began, tears shimmering. "He doesn't know what I've done." Her words lingered, heavy like stones in the air. Maria's heart thudded. "What have you done?" she asked, voice barely audible. Vanessa hesitated, then swallowed. I sold his stock," she whispered. "Without his knowledge. The market crashed last week. I panicked. I thought if I could protect him, if I could salvage something, he'd never know." She turned, eyes pleading. "But the loss, it's massive. He's going to lose everything." Maria's mind raced. She knew Ethan prided himself on control, on meticulously tracking every investment. This was beyond reckless. It was catastrophic. She felt a wave of sympathy for Vanessa's panic, but also a deep sense of urgency. A secret of that magnitude couldn't remain hidden. "Mrs. Hartley," Maria began cautiously. "You need to tell Mr. Hartley right away. Hiding it will only make it worse." Vanessa shook her head, tears streaming. "He'll hate me. He'll divorce me. The scandal, his reputation will be ruined." Her voice cracked and she slid to the floor, curling into herself. Maria knelt beside her, heart aching. "I understand your fear, but Ethan needs the truth. Secrets have a way of destroying everything in their path." Vanessa closed her eyes, trembling. Maria stayed with her, offering silent support. Finally, Vanessa looked up, eyes red-rimmed. "What should I do?" she asked, voice small. Maria took a breath. "You tell him tonight, before anyone else finds out. If he hears it from me instead of you, that will be worse." Vanessa nodded as if surrendering to fate. Tonight, she repeated. Tonight I'll tell him. Maria helped her up, guiding her to a chair. I'll be right outside the door, she said. If you need me, That evening, the sky glowed pink and gold as the sun dipped below the horizon. Candles flickered in the Hartley dining room, where a small gathering awaited. Ethan, unaware of the storm brewing behind closed doors, smiled politely as he exchanged pleasantries with guests, business associates and socialites, all oblivious to the crisis. Vanessa sat beside him, pale but composed, a faint mask of calm resting on her features. Maria lingered nearby, serving dishes and listening to clinking silverware, her mind tense with anticipation. After dinner, the guests retired to the drawing room, indulging in wine and conversation. Maria knew this was her moment. She found Ethan, alone in the library, reviewing financial statements. His back was to her, broad shoulders hunched over a mahogany desk. Maria's footsteps were silent as she approached. When she cleared her throat, Ethan looked up, surprised. Yes? Sir, Maria began, voice steady. Mrs. Hartley wishes to speak with you privately. She asked me to find you. Ethan's expression flickered. Now? This late? He rose, brushing his hand through his hair. Very well. He followed Maria down the corridor, heart pounding, suspicion clouding his mind. When they reached Vanessa's suite, the door was closed. Maria knocked softly. Sir, she said. She is ready. Ethan opened the door to find Vanessa seated, at her vanity, hands clasped in her lap, head bowed. Her face was ashen, her posture rigid. Ethan, she whispered. He closed the door behind him, his footsteps silent. Vanessa, he said, his voice cautious. What is it? Vanessa looked up, gaze meeting his. The warmth in his eyes flickered, replaced by confusion. I need to tell you something, she said, voice wavering. It's about your investments. Ethan frowned, confusion giving way to concern. Speak plainly. Vanessa inhaled, exhaling slowly. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. Ethan's jaw tightened. What are you talking about? Vanessa's shoulders shook. I sold stocks, your stocks, without telling you. The market crashed. I panicked. I thought I could save us, but I lost more than I realized. She paused, tears spilling. We're ruined. The room fell silent, the only sound the distant hum of the city. Ethan's expression was a storm. Hurt, anger, disbelief. You what? He asked, voice low. Vanessa swallowed, tears falling. I'm sorry, she whispered. I was afraid to tell you. I thought I was protecting you. Ethan's breathing grew heavy. You took millions from me. You gambled our future. His voice cracked, emotion searing through each word. Vanessa dropped her gaze, unable to meet his eyes. Maria stood in the doorway, knowing her presence might interfere. She glanced between them, pain twisting her chest. She turned to leave, but lingered, uncertain. Suddenly, Ethan's eyes snapped to her. You, he said, voice sharp. You knew about this? Maria hesitated. I overheard, she admitted, voice trembling. I tried to convince Mrs. Hartley to speak the truth. Ethan's gaze hardened. And you? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Maria swallowed, regret flooding her. I didn't want to betray her trust, sir, but... Vanessa stood, stepping between Ethan and Maria. Please, she pleaded, voice desperate. I didn't ask her to keep it from you, I couldn't face you. Ethan's fists shook at his sides. You ruined everything. He turned away, pacing. Maria watched, heart aching, unsure of her place. Vanessa sank to the floor, tears pooling. I love you, she whispered. I was trying to help. Ethan's shoulders slumped. He sank into a chair. You lied, he said, voice hollow. We trusted each other. Maria felt tears brim in her eyes. She approached Ethan tentatively. "Sir," she said softly, "I know this is hard, but maybe there's something we can do. The loss isn't final until all assets are liquidated. Perhaps we can find a way to recover." Ethan looked at her, eyes cold. "You don't understand. My reputation, my business, everything depends on precise decisions." He shook his head, sinking deeper into despair. "Now I don't know who I am anymore." Vanessa reached out, placing a hand on Ethan's shoulder. He flinched but didn't pull away. "Ethan," she said, voice quivering. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. Can you ever forgive me?" He closed his eyes, pain etched on his face. "I don't know." Maria knelt by Vanessa, offering comfort. The three sat in strained silence, each grappling with the fallout of deceptive choices. The once pristine marriage lay in tatters, and Maria questioned whether she had done the right thing by revealing the truth. That night, Maria returned to her modest quarters on the estate. The moonlight cast soft shapes through her window. Sleep eluded her as she replayed the day's events. She worried for Ethan, respected him despite his anger. She felt compassion for Vanessa, torn by fear and guilt, and she questioned her own role in this drama, wondering if undisclosed secrets might have been less destructive than the upheaval wrought by her intervention. The next morning, Maria rose early to prepare breakfast. She moved quietly through the halls, the mansion eerily silent. The lavish dining room was empty, save for a single envelope on the table. Maria approached it, curiosity pricking her. The envelope was addressed to her in Ethan's precise handwriting. Her heart quickened as she opened it. Inside was a check, enough to secure her future, a sum that dwarfed her modest salary. Alongside it lay a note. "Thank you for your honesty. You showed loyalty to our family when it mattered most." Maria's hands trembled as she clutched the check. She stared at the note, tears welling. She knew Ethan's pride would never allow him to show gratitude so openly. He understood that integrity sometimes required painful truths. Maria felt a surge of pride and relief, imagining how her life could change with this gift. Suddenly, footsteps echoed through the corridor. Maria turned to see Vanessa approaching, wearing a simple gray dress that contrasted sharply with her usual designer gowns. Her face was softer, absence of makeup revealing vulnerability. "Maria," she said quietly, voice sincere. "Thank you for telling Ethan. I don't know where I'd be without your support." Maria offered a gentle smile. "I know you didn't mean harm," she said. Vanessa nodded, tears shining in her eyes. "I was scared, but I realize now that truth and compassion matter more than fear." Maria handed Vanessa the edge of the envelope. "He wants you to repay the check, but not with money." Vanessa blinked, confusion flickering. "He wrote that I should find a way to help those in need, to repay kindness to the less fortunate." Vanessa smiled through tears. "He always was a better man than I realized." Maria's heart warmed. The two women embraced, a bridge of empathy forming between them. Later that day, Maria delivered breakfast to the study. Ethan looked up, surprise softening his features. "Good morning," he said, voice measured. "I wanted to see how you are." Maria nodded, stepping back respectfully. "I'm well, sir. Thank you." Ethan's eyes held a glint of gratitude. "You did the right thing. It wouldn't have ended any other way." Maria bowed her head, feeling both humility and pride. She served the tray and retreated, knowing their relationship had shifted in an unseen but profound way. As the sun climbed higher, Ethan and Vanessa met in the garden courtyard. Water trickled from a marble fountain, and birds chirped in the manicured hedges. Vanessa held a small booklet, an application for a scholarship fund that aided young women like Maria who sought education. She handed it to Ethan, her smile hopeful. "Let's help people like her," she said. Ethan studied the booklet, then nodded. "Yes, we will." Their hands brushed, and Maria watched from the doorway. Her heart fluttered at the sight of hope blossoming in a place once marred by secrets. Weeks passed, and the Hartley estate buzzed with new energy. Vanessa had launched a charity in Maria's name, providing vocational training for impoverished women. Ethan poured resources into the initiative, eager to atone for the turmoil that almost broke him. Maria found herself at the center of something larger than service. She guided workshops, teaching life skills, and watched as lives transformed. She felt purpose blooming in her chest, a destiny she never imagined as a young maid. One afternoon, Ethan approached her as she organized books in the community center's small library. He handed her a thick envelope. Maria opened it, finding acceptance letters from a prestigious university for a scholarship in social work. She gasped, tears threatening. "I don't know what to say," she stammered. Ethan smiled, pride shining in his eyes. "Just say you'll continue to help others." Maria nodded, voice choked. "I will. Thank you." She realized that her courage to speak the truth had set in motion a chain of events that reshaped all their lives.